Story 1. I work at a sewage treatment plant. Breathe through your nose. It can smell at times and may splash, so keep your lips tight. Story 2. Do not ask Mark about how his weekend was. You will receive a step-by-step description of everything he did and all the ways his child and stepchildren annoyed him. You can easily get stuck listening to him for over an hour. Frankly, even saying good morning is a bit of a risk. Story 3. Roger is a seagull. He flies into meetings, defecates on things, and then leaves. He is old and will not be here much longer, so we just let him be. Story 4. Please stop promising deadlines to the client without consulting me. It is not going to be completed, and you are damaging our relationship. Story 5. Do not tell anyone anything you do not want the entire department to find out immediately. Story 6. You do not need to give me shit excuses when you call in sick. Just tell me you are not coming in. I do not need to know more. Story 7. The more you hurry to finish your work, the more others will be expected to work at the same pace. I have 40 years left in the workforce. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Your body will give out early unless you slow down. Story 8. James, the supervisor, is stricter about swearing and phone use, especially with new employees. Every new person thinks he dislikes them and is targeting them. Once you prove you are competent, James is very supportive and more willing than other supervisors to stand up for employees against upper management or corporate. The rule is, toe the line with James when you are new. It is not permanent. Story 9. Working after hours and calling others is a common problem. I work in information technology and I expect occasional after-hours calls depending on clients' needs, but people often forget boundaries. If you say, let's discuss this Monday morning, or can we talk from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., Monday through Friday, it helps train them to respect normal hours. New managers, dispatchers, office staff, and field staff all need to learn to work within business hours. Working late or at all hours does not help productivity and can make it seem like you have time management issues. This behavior needs to be fixed as soon as possible. I just text, is this critical? Or can we wait until tomorrow? I am with my family. Most of the time they figure it out or wait because it is not important. Story 10. The boss is okay, smart, and hardworking, but easily confused. Do not give them too much information, or many emails will follow. There are too many pings. Story 11. If you work in the corporate world, do not give detailed feedback on anything. You might be right. Your experience and expertise could help improve things, but it will not matter. Story 12. This place is run by 3 raccoons in a trench coat. We are all idiots and the money is spent accordingly. The vibes are great, and somehow there is always enough to keep limping on. Story 13. Cameron is a cunt and should be avoided at all costs. He sucks the life out of anyone within 10 meters. Story 14. Hiding mistakes just compounds the problem. Everyone makes mistakes. We prefer you tell someone immediately so we can address the issue. No one will get angry or yell at you. We are not a toxic work environment. Mistakes are a learning experience. If you are a new employee and the mistake was not intentional, we will work with you to resolve it. Let us help you fix it so you can learn from it and prevent it from happening again. Story 15. Never say it is quiet or anything that suggests you are not busy. That guarantees something will happen. Is it a silly superstition? Maybe. But almost anyone who has worked in security, law enforcement, or emergency services will probably swear by it. Also, the worse your food tastes after reheating, the busier you will be while you try to eat. Story 16. Robert is an old, lazy, stupid piece of shit who will lie about anything to make himself look amazing. He is not to be trusted and would kill a puppy to avoid doing work. Story 17. Speak to the boss as if you were talking to a young child or a golden retriever. Story 18. Don't fuck around with the Eddie dye powder. It needs less than you could possibly imagine in water to make it blue. Too much and we'll be sending Smurfs home from childcare. Story 19. Do not question the rules. We are all aware they do not make sense. Nothing you say will change it. Story 20. Teachers. Students are not your friends or buddies. You are the adult and their teacher. When it is time for consequences, they will not take you seriously. If you bring candy or snacks thinking a single bribe will make students do their work, it will not. They will expect treats every time and leave trash everywhere. The mentality of, if you do this, I will give you that never works. Story 21. In the software development world, there is an unwritten rule that may seem counterintuitive. The most elegant solution is not always the most practical one. Young developers often learn that a perfectly abstracted, highly efficient algorithm may look beautiful in a code editor, but real-world constraints such as project timelines, team comprehension, and maintenance overhead matter as much. Early in my career, I was proud of a complex recursive solution until a senior developer explained that a straightforward, slightly less efficient approach can be more valuable. It is about balancing technical excellence with pragmatic delivery. Tip for newcomers: prioritize readability and team understanding. Your code should tell a clear story that colleagues can follow and maintain. Clever is not always better. Clear is. Story 22. If you work hard and show competence, you get more work. There are favorites. Management chooses who to prioritize for punishment for issues such as attendance or the technical aspects of the job. The company does not care about you. They will let you die and will not even stop operations. Story 23. Your coworkers are not your friends. Maintain friendly relations and mutual respect, but be careful because people enjoy drama or gossip. Also, do not sleep with or date coworkers. It is true that sometimes people meet close friends or partners at work. You can meet people you connect with and have friends outside the workplace. However, be cautious because workplace relationships are delicate. One bad experience can cause serious problems. People can be unpredictable and often form cliques. I hope you have a positive experience and do not have to face this, but it is common, so proceed carefully. In the end, do what is right for you, but I stand by this advice. Story 24. Do not wish anyone good luck. For dancers, or the French say merde. For Germans or vaudeville performers say toi toi toi. For circus performers or Italians say in bocca al lupo. For actors or English speakers say break a leg. Do not say that to dancers or circus performers. It could be taken the wrong way. If you are performing with ice skaters who are all shouting good luck at each other, just pretend you do not hear them. Story 25. The training you will undergo is one of the worst I have seen. It might be more effective to have no formal training and let people learn on the job. No matter how much you complain, they will blame you. Endure the training and we will show you what to do. Story 26. Always nod during meetings, even if you have no idea what is going on. Story 27. If you are a smoker, you get twice as many breaks, but you face an increased risk of lung cancer. Story 28. Do not give it your all. Others will always ask for more. If you give 100% from the start, they will expect 110% and you will burn out. Story 29. Hold your breath for 7 seconds when you walk past Keith. Story 30. John wants a quick answer without extra explanation. If you say, I have a doctor's appointment on Thursday and need that day off, that is enough. He does not need to know it is a cardiology appointment, the fight with the insurance company, or that you switch doctors. Just say it and move on. If you say something to him, he will remember it and bring it up for years. If you once said in 2017 that you did not want ice cream, he will mention that you hate ice cream about once a week until one of you dies. Story 31. Don't talk to Rebecca unless absolutely necessary. She may try to convert you to Christian fundamentalism and may condemn you for eating meat and consuming caffeine. Rebecca is difficult. Avoid her if at all possible. Story 32. Do not take it home. No matter how patients sound on calls, we know they are sick and it hurts to hear. You did not cause their condition. Story 33. Do not microwave fish in the break room unless you want the entire office to hate you. Story 34. Emails marked urgent are never truly urgent. Emails with no subject line will destroy your whole day. Story 35. We had a member we called Eddie the Eagle. He would latch onto you like a tick and not let go. As soon as he walked in, we would announce, "The eagle has landed," so people could avoid him. At another job, a woman behaved the same way but worse. She lived in an assisted living home a few blocks away and would spend hours wandering around, telling everyone how horrible her life was. She said every family member she had, including 2 husbands and several children, had died in terrible ways. We thought it would be nice to have her win a cake from the bakery in our weekly drawing, so we rigged it for her to win. It was a huge mistake. She cried for over an hour. She said it was the best thing that had happened to her in the past 15 years. She could not eat the cake because she was diabetic. Story 36. Do not speak negatively about your colleagues. It has taken us years to build a positive, collaborative team, and you are not going to last if you try to ruin it. Story 37. The person who shares the most interesting news from around the office is the last person with whom you should discuss your personal business. Story 38. If you reply to emails too quickly, you create an expectation that you are always available. That hardworking image becomes a trap. Story 39. If you run over a cone, knock over a trash can, or tap your mirror on a pole, you do not report it. If it did not cause damage or injure a passenger, it is like Coach Klein said, "What mama does not know will not hurt her." Story 40. I know Jane is in human resources, but she will share your personal business with others. So be selective about what you tell her. Although I just trained you on these processes, we make it up as we go. Good luck. You will eventually get a call from Bob telling you how, when, and where you suck. Just say okay and hang up. Bob is a dick and cannot be fixed. Move on and know you are a better person. Story 41. If you make an error that affects others, you must bring cake to the office, homemade or bought. Story 42. I work in delivery, and I learned that baby powder prevents chafing after working a summer of 12-hour shifts. Story 43. If it is not urgent and you are patient and kind, we will handle work orders as soon as we can. If it is not urgent and you are demanding and expect immediate completion, we will prioritize other tasks ahead of your work order. You must be patient because there are 1,000 problems and 3 of us. I am maintenance for a hospital system. Story 44. Our unwritten rule is that we do not always follow written rules. If you spend too much time following them, things will end up late. Story 45. If you excel at your job, supervisors will assign you more work. People who perform poorly at their jobs do not face the same expectations. Story 46. Do not tell Amber anything unless you want the entire office to know. Story 47. If you park your forklift in a picking aisle and walk away from it, it will magically disappear toward the back of the warehouse. Story 48. Soft skills and self-awareness are very important. You can be the smartest person at your job, but if you lack them and no one wants to work with you, your career will suffer. Story 49. Do not come to work if you are sick, if someone you live with is sick, or if you might infect your coworkers. We have a small team. If everyone is sick, operations grind to a halt. No one will question you if you say you may have been exposed and want to work from home for a short period. We will appreciate it. If you are unsure whether you are sick or have allergies, stay home and determine the cause. We experienced a couple of outbreaks in which everyone became ill, and management has learned from that, especially since coronavirus disease 2019 infections became the new normal. Story 50. Rule 1, also known as the Golden Rule. Always get it in writing and cover your arse. Story 51. The fancy coffee machine that dispenses milk does not keep it cold enough, and on Monday mornings, after the milk has sat all weekend, you may end up with cottage cheese in your coffee. Story 52. After completing the 60-minute training on how to claim overtime, you learn the unwritten rule that you must never try to claim overtime because it has never been approved. Story 53. Do not leave your office door open. If someone from another department comes to talk to you, especially when the door is open, do not try to make the conversation engaging. They may want to talk for hours about trivial matters. Story 54. There are no breaks at all, not even lunch breaks, even during a 12-hour shift. This rule is probably not written because it seems illegal in the United States. I have worked there for over 8 years. Everyone gets used to it. Story 55. Sorry, I can't assist with language that demeans people with disabilities. We are a well-regarded institution. but we still employ many staff who do not meet our standards. Story 56. If a task has a deadline, use the full time and submit it at the last second. You will be credited for being punctual, a hard worker, keeping your promises, and being consistent. If you submit it too early, especially very quickly, people may assume you do not have enough work and will give you more until you do not even have time to breathe. They may then judge you as not doing your job, slow, unhappy, and unadaptable. Story 57. The walls are paper thin, and everyone can hear you. Story 58. If someone offers you a bottle and asks you to smell it, do not. 9 times out of 10, it is ammonia. Story 59. There is a woman on the mentor team who takes you under her wing, shows you the ropes, shares gossip, and befriends you. Because you are close, she discloses that she is struggling with bipolar disorder. Whatever personal thing you tell her in assumed confidence, she then tells the entire office. 9 times out of 10, she finds someone who discloses their own mental health journey and then gleefully tells anyone who will listen. It is sickening. Management knew and did nothing to directly reprimand her but stopped assigning people for her to mentor. She still found ways around this until she got a new position in another department, and now she is their problem. She is actually a great worker and knows her work, but she is a terrible human being. Story 60. Do not suggest a change of any kind. Even though the manager thinks it is a good idea and it will save time or money, the lifers will immediately panic and shoot it down because this is the way we have always done it. Story 61. In any workplace, know who you can trust and who will backstab you as soon as they can. Story 62. Do not ask questions that are pointless or that apply only to you at all staff meetings. Story 63. I remember going through a huge bout of stress-related insomnia during the early pandemic. I texted my boss that I could not make it, and he asked for details. He said he did not think that was a reason to miss work. I replied that I did not think I was in compliance with the Fit for Duty policy and that I had a half hour on the highway to get to work, and I asked him to advise. I think he realized that putting this in writing was a bad move from a liability standpoint and let up. Since then, I say I am unwell unless it is coronavirus disease 2019, in which case I say I have a virus and will likely be out for a few days. I will keep you posted on my return. Story 64. The organizational chart does not show how things actually get done. Learn the informal network of who gets things done and ask the right person, who is usually not the person listed in charge on the organizational chart. There are 2 organizational charts, the visible one and the hidden one. Story 65. Do not talk to the boss, Grant, about the project you are currently working on unless you want him to mess it up, take credit for it, or blame you. It is a silly dance the whole office performs. Story 66. Human resources exists to benefit the company, not the employees. Story 67. Don't ever complain about one of the boss's brides. They are perfect. Compliment them and the amazing work they are doing. Praise them even when they are doing nothing. Story 68. Better to be thought of as a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. Story 69. You'll never become a partner at the law firm where I work if you are not a gorgeous, 20-something-year-old white woman with excellent oral skills. The boss or owner of the firm is a real pig. Story 70. If we are having a slow day, never say, it's mad slow, because we may suddenly get busy and everyone will blame you. It's best to ignore it or keep the thought to yourself. Story 71. Don't tell anyone here anything you would not want everyone, including daycare parents, to know. I work with several habitual gossipers. If they so much as overhear something, it spreads like wildfire. The smallest observation becomes the wildest story. Just don't share. It's better for you that way. Story 72. When the manager comes in and finds something wrong, he will yell at the first person he sees, even if they have nothing to do with it. Story 73. Tony is a dick and it is his forklift even when he is not around. Story 74. Don't bring your child to school. I was a middle school teacher. My son was in kindergarten and the babysitter was the last stop on the bus route. The bus then continued to the middle school in the afternoon. I arranged for him to stay on the bus, get off at the middle school, and we could go home together 20 minutes later. The assistant principal on bus duty always greeted him warmly, and they bonded. My child was well behaved and sat quietly while I finished my duties. People brought their children all the time at the 3 different schools where I worked in that district. Fast forward to a new school in a different district where I made a much lower salary and was broke. We had a staff meeting after school on an early release day. The meeting was not confidential, just a training on active engagement. Hoping to save a few dollars on after-school care, I picked him up before the meeting. He sat quietly in a corner of the library reading a book. You would have thought I had brought the devil himself into the building. The principal contacted me the next day and scolded me about how disruptive my child was and said children were not welcome at the school. Story 75. If you accidentally get urine on the seat, please clean it right away. Story 76. You do not dress like a pirate on Talk Like a Pirate Day. Story 77. The better you are at your job, the more you get to do other people's jobs. Story 78. If you put in extra effort from day one, people start expecting that as your baseline. Before you know it, you're doing more while everyone else stays the same, and it drains you fast. The trick is to be consistent and reliable, but not sprinting out of the gate. Slow and steady keeps you sane in the long term. This happened to me. Story 79. The person with the unusual, joking-sounding title is not someone you should ignore or assume you can treat lightly. He has that whimsical title because he built the entire technology stack that runs the company, advanced the state-of-the-art to do it, and has so much influence with the senior leadership team and even the board that he can generally make almost anything happen. Fortunately, he is a calm person, so most people learn the hard way by stepping in it and having their boss or their manager's manager have a very pointed conversation. A few people were sufficiently rude to him that they were escorted out immediately. It must be a strong wake-up call to be rude to someone you assume is just a random employee and be unemployed an hour later. Story 80. Do not go looking for the children in the stairwell. We hear them but have never seen them. Story 81. Try to avoid microwaving smelly foods such as fish. Almost a decade ago, when I was an intern, a friend and I saw a pack of 6 sodas with 5 remaining and assumed it was for everyone. We were wrong. We bought the soda cans back from the owner. It was no big deal, we just did not know. Story 82. Don't suck up to every boss you see and wonder why the whole office thinks you're a douche. Story 83. At your last job, you cannot trust the front desk. Watch your schedule like a hawk. In your current job, no one will call your clients back for you and you will lose them. Story 84. Do not respond to emails immediately. That creates the expectation that you are always on and available. If you must compose a reply immediately, wait a short while before sending it. Story 85. The snack bar is not just for show. People come in and assume it is a look but do not touch situation. When lunch arrives, it looks like Attila the Hun is carrying out a raid. Story 86. Never tell your manager that you have nothing to do. It is always better to find something to do yourself, or your boss will find a task you will most likely not want to work on. Story 87. If you are a newly hired project manager, my condolences. The senior project manager assigned to train you does not train people at all. With him, it is sink or swim because he does not have the patience to explain things. Do not be afraid to ask the other project managers questions, or anyone else on staff if it is about processes, software, policies, and so on. Otherwise, you will not succeed here. Story 88. Early in my career, the first time I worked as part of a somewhat large team, a committee arrived at my office and told me the unwritten rule. I was allowed to break the build once. After that, they started breaking fingers. Much later, at another job, my boss told me that before contacting the submitter of a bug and asking for their logs, I must first look them up on the organizational chart to make sure they are not an executive vice president. Story 89. Asking how to fix the printer makes you the new information technology person by default. Story 90. Never confide any issues you have with your coworkers to the receptionist, as it takes newcomers a while to realize that everything they say will be repeated. Story 91. Do not speak to the talent unless they speak to you. Story 92. You give me work, I give you work. You leave me alone, I leave you alone. Story 93. Do not tell anyone unless you are comfortable with the entire staff knowing. Gossip is the lifeblood of my workplace. There is no such thing as a secret, and confidential is just a word. Story 94. If there is leftover food in the fridge after a working lunch, do not send an email to everyone in the office. Some people keep Tupperware dishes in their desks, waiting for the chance. Story 95. Our midnight shift starts at 11 p.m. All new employees begin on the midnight shift after training. When the schedule is posted, it shows the date, that is Monday, September 22nd, 2025 at 11 p.m. But they issue write-ups to new employees because the shift actually starts on Sunday, September 21st, 2025 at 11 p.m. They do not explain this to new employees. Story 96. Assume that anything you put in a chat is going to be copy-pasted into another email exactly as is and without context. Story 97. Stay hydrated. Get good shoes. Do not say anything you would not want repeated. If you are early, you are on time. If you are on time, you are fighting for equipment. One item on this list is not actually a secret. It's just that no one takes it seriously when they start, and we end up picking them up off the floor. Story 98. Parking spaces may not be assigned, but some are clearly claimed. Story 99. As a Latter-day Saint missionary, pad your statistics. Missionaries are generally honest and obedient. New missionaries are eager to do the Lord's work and report it accurately. Their experienced senior companions know better than to report honest statistics, but the newcomers are idealistic and believe honesty is the best policy. The senior companion says, "Fine, go ahead. Put down that we only spent 55 hours proselytizing this week instead of 70, and only taught 2 first discussions." The newcomer does because it is the truth. Then he spends the next week getting an earful from his district leader, the zone leader, and the assistant to the president. Maybe even the mission president if there is a zone conference that week. He learns that nobody wants honest statistics. They want good statistics. Nobody cares if people actually join the church. Everyone just wants to move up the leadership ladder. The mission president needs to show good statistics because he wants to become a general authority. So the newcomers learn. It is just like the television show The Wire. Juke the statistics and lieutenants become captains and captains become majors. Story 100. If you are a woman, you will not get promoted unless you are pretty. Story 101. I'm in information technology. A lot more happens on Friday evenings and Saturdays than you realize. When you join the team, it is shocking to see everyone doing it constantly. By then you are in, and you do not want to be the weak player, so you fall in line and start doing the weekend work. Story 102. We work almost every day, and because we are salaried, we are doing that work for free. Story 103. Never take the boss's chair, even if they are not there. Story 104. We are too busy to reteach anything more than a couple of times. If you cannot get it, then go up front and deal with the patients. Story 105. Do not outwork the crew on day 1. Pace yourself or they will hate you. Story 106. No one will tell you what to do or how to do it. This environment is for self-starters only. Took me 2 weeks to work that out. Story 107. Virtual meetings start 5 minutes early. Took me a couple of months before someone told me. I had people messaging me about 2 minutes before asking if I was going to join. Story 108. Never anger information technology or maintenance, estates, grounds, and facilities staff. Story 109. Studio microphones are always live. Someone somewhere could be listening. Story 110. Don't upset the technicians. We can and will make your life much harder than it needs to be. Need something ordered? Sorry, there are a dozen orders ahead of you. Need supplies from the back? Sorry, my boss just called. You'll need to get them yourself. Don't know where to drop off paperwork? Sorry, I don't know either. After about a week, the person apologizes to the offended technician and their life becomes easier. Story 111. Yes, sometimes you run out of things to do. For the love of common sense, do not go to your manager asking for more work. Story 112. Do not microwave fish. The office will never forgive you. Story 113. Nothing works. Everyone claims otherwise, but nothing actually does. If you point out that nothing works, the response will be that you cannot make it work and that it is your fault. It is best to find a workaround rather than bring it up. Otherwise, you will be left holding the bag. Story 114. I work at a warehouse where we do screen printing and embroidery. When you are a finisher in embroidery, your job is to move quickly. Take your time, but also clean up that shirt faster. If you are the only finisher between two machines, expect to work double time on fast orders. Story 115. Never leave candy on your desk. The boss will hover and steal it. Also, no one should play Black Dog or Black Parade because he cannot sing and will butcher either song. Story 116. Avoid asking questions during meetings unless you are ready for a mini interrogation. Story 117. No matter how friendly they are, what offers they make, or how much they laugh at your jokes, you cannot trust those in power here. Do not joke with them. Do not ask them questions. Simply say yes, madam, or no, madam, and yes, sir, or no, sir. If they want to talk, they will start the conversation. Any attempt to impress them will leave a black mark on your reputation. I am not saying they are bad people. The hidden politics here are a non-stop knife fight you do not want to get involved in, especially when you will not be issued a knife. Story 118. Nothing works the way it should, and every update makes something worse. You do not want to work the weekend after an update is pushed on Friday night. Story 119. Never overpromise or say you have the bandwidth to take on more. Story 120. Concentrate only on the things you can control or influence. If you start to worry about things outside those circles, you will crash and burn quickly. Story 121. If you have an angry child in front of you, do not match their aggression. They may become physically violent, such as hitting or attempting to injure you. Story 122. It is supposed to be about merit, but in practice it is often about who you know. Getting a foot in the door can be exceedingly difficult, and we cannot retain staff. Once you are in, you are unlikely to advance unless you flatter senior colleagues or have connections, despite claims of a fair hiring and promotion process. Story 123. Unlimited vacation does not mean unlimited. It means you must get vacation days approved in advance, and when you leave the company you are not paid for unused time. I used to have 4 weeks of vacation until my company was acquired. The new company had an unlimited policy. After requesting a week off in the summer, having taken a day here and there to extend weekends, my boss pulled me aside and told me I was taking too much vacation time. Basically, I went from 4 weeks of vacation to being discouraged from taking any days off. Story 124. Do not anger the administrative assistant or the information technology department. Story 125. Contract hours are a myth. I am a veteran teacher at a new school. I have been arriving for morning duty 5 minutes before students are supposed to arrive, which is 10 minutes after the start of our contract hours. My assistant principal texted me today saying I am supposed to be at duty right at the start of contract hours. If I want to set my things down in my classroom and put my lunch in the staff refrigerator, I need to arrive 15 minutes before contract hours begin. We regularly have students remaining at school 20 to 25 minutes after dismissal, and all 7 teachers assigned to dismissal are expected to stay. That means I do not get to my car until 15 minutes after contract hours. This does not include the extra time teachers spend after school grading and planning lessons. Story 126. At the bank where I worked years ago, there was a senior vice president of commercial loans who was a pompous blowhard. If I heard his voice in the hall, I would pick up my work phone and pretend to be on a call to avoid him. While I do not mind a friendly work chat, he talked nonstop about himself and how great he was, often for more than half an hour. People would quickly leave when they saw him coming. It is embarrassing to be so full of yourself and unaware that people dread interacting with you. Those people make me want to avoid them. Story 127. Related service providers at the elementary school are not willing to offer support. Do not call the social worker. She is not coming. This reflects my specific workplace. I have worked at other schools with amazing, hardworking, and caring service providers. Story 128. Processes and procedures are ineffective if people continue to rely on workarounds. Story 129. Take a 33-minute lunch break. That way, the computer won't mark you down as taking a 29-minute lunch, a policy violation. Story 130. Human Resources is always reading your private Microsoft Teams messages sent to coworkers. You won't find out until after a taboo subject comes up. Story 131. Human Resources is not there to work for you and is often incompetent. Story 132. My entire office is fully remote and uses Microsoft Teams for everything. Do not, under any circumstances other than a dire emergency, cold call someone. Send a message via Microsoft Teams and do not call. This started as an unspoken rule and has since become policy. Also, there are no meetings on Friday unless it is very important. Story 133. Always say yes when someone offers you free food. It is a trap that tests loyalty. Story 134. If you put your lunch bag in the company refrigerator, do not expect it to be there on your lunch break. Story 135. Teaching. Put on your own oxygen mask before helping others. If you are burning yourself out, you will not be able to function effectively as a teacher. There is a point where your job stops and the next person starts, for example, a counselor or social worker. If you do not set that boundary, you will burn out and the child will not get the help they need. Story 136. Not everyone with a runny nose is sick. It is called powdered motivation. Story 137. If you are having an issue with your computer or any other piece of technology you are using, do not wait weeks to report it. Tell me and I will fix it. Story 138. My boss is a moron. Do not believe most of what she tells you because she lies frequently. Do not depend on her for anything. Act as if you have no manager and must do everything yourself. Story 139. Avoid that designer at all costs. He will not stop talking, insists he is right about everything, and will trap you in a one-way conversation with no exit. Story 140. Punching in and out at exactly the scheduled minute is almost more important than doing the work. There is a dedicated smoking area for customers, and staff must never smoke within sight of the store. All rules are disclosed by written warnings. There is no handbook. When I asked about the rules, the supervisor gave me a blank stare. Coworkers gossip continuously, and that is okay. Story 141. Some people insist that coworkers use only their formal name, such as Patricia. Others accept or even insist on a nickname, like Patty or Pat. You will not know which form is acceptable until you use the wrong one, and if the person is Patricia, they may never forgive you. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.